Okay.
Oh, tap for sound. Why did this?
Yeah, I didn't put the thing on there. It's just because they keep blocking me. So it's going to play. It's going to look pretty right now.
Okay.
Oh, I like this.
I usually have music with it, but it just,
Oh, this
okay,
is
we're live. It's saying we're on YouTube live. So yeah. So when I go to do the thing, I'm going to block all of that out. All right.
Oh,
When we get to, when I edit everything. All right.
good.
So
I like.
again, so when I go to do the thing, yeah, we're live on YouTube and we should be live on Facebook. All right. Whew. Father, thank you.
Wow, I love all this. The slides here.
See, all right. That's a beautiful thing. I'm glad. I want to make sure my hat is on, y'all.
Good.
Okay. All right. That's my intro. That's my intro to
Good.
everything.
Oh yeah, I
It's
like.
all right.
We
Oh,
got
it's almost over. All right. We should be. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Around Table. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to say, oh my gosh, and we're going to get started. As you come in, say hello, say hi. Thank you for coming in. That's all I can say. All I can say, can you do us a favor as you come in? Say hello. And I'm just going to tap in hello right here so everybody can see me. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Facebook. We are here. We are live. Yes. We had some technical difficulties, but we pushed through it. About 30 minutes of it, I swear.
we are in it now.
We're in it now. See, we're here because this is going to be for awesome. This is going to be awesome. And I'm just going to introduce who I am, and then I'm going to get quiet. I'm going to mute my mic, and anybody have any questions, wait until they finish, and then we're going to ask the questions because I'm ready. My name is Juanita Adote. I am the CEO of the Round Table, and on this channel, we put shine the light and we give all the information to the community, to around the world, to all the millions of people that's going to be watching this video. We hope and pray everything you hear tonight is going to be beneficial to you. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking now, and y'all go ahead. And you can introduce yourself, and then you can take over.
Okay.
okay. I'll go first. Yeah.
You go first. Okay.
Okay. Some of you guys, well, most of you guys should know me. I'm Trinity. I'm Beatrice and Darrell's daughter.
Say your last name. Cool.
Oh, Trinity Stackhouse.
Let them know.
I'm joining here because he asked me to join with him as his as I guess you could say his student his student really.
As my test subject,
His test subject. He kind of got me into any of the financial things I'm doing right now. So I will, I guess you say, speak on my testimony at the end. But I'm gonna let him speak for most of it because he's the money guy. He knows it all, and I'll put my 2 cents in if I feel that it needs to be added.
Okay. And so I am Tommy Clario. I work at the bank. That's why I just came off work. So I got this on. Green on green. Green like money. you didn't get the memo, huh? So how do I start with this? A lot of stuff with money, all right? Money's a beautiful thing. And absolutely, greed is bad, right? Everybody knows too much money is a bad thing, right? But overall, people need to know about money. You need to do your own research to be beneficial to yourself, right? So I got a couple things to say today. I'm just going to keep going. And for the questions, at any time if I say something weird, let me know. Ask it out. Put it in the chat, and even you two, or you, Juanita, anybody, all right? I'm ready. So I think a lot of people now and before like to just avoid money, right? If you don't talk about it, you're not stressed out. There's no problems. You're not going to feel like you're behind or overwhelmed if you're not talking about it because everything will be fine. Wrong. Completely wrong. If you avoid it, it's just going to not work out for you. And you're going to be struggling and you're going to be stressed. All the things that you wish wouldn't happen to you is absolutely going to happen to you, unfortunately, right? Because God helps those who help themselves, right? So you need to help yourself. And really the first thing, I don't want to say first thing, but the thing you need to do, absolutely, is let something hit your bank account. You need to get that job, all right? That's number one. Number one, get the job. All right. And then you can worry about living paycheck to paycheck, but make sure the money's getting in first to you. Okay. Now, as that money's coming in, right, you're working really hard, you're doing something for yourself, you want to spend on things, you want to get stuff. You want to learn about all the different accounts, right? So I work at the bank, and even before that, I didn't understand all the different accounts that were available to me and to anyone, not just where I work at the credit union, but at other banks too. Well, banks and credit unions is a different thing, but needless to say, we'll go on from that. But if you have Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, anything in between, Bank of America, all that, right? You need to know that there's savings and a checking. That's the minimum, right? There's so much more that you could have access to. If you have a business, you have a business account. Why there's a difference? Well, you need to go there and ask. Ask questions. You want to be hungry for knowledge, right? That's the whole point of this conversation here, is to get everyone, whoever's listening right now, one person, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever, right? If you don't know anything about money, you need to always look, get different opinions on everything, right? Go there, ask about the business accounts. What is a holiday club? What would that be for, right? Premier savings, higher yield savings. What is that for, right? Or if you have a child, a college savings, why would they need that? For college, yes, but what are the details from that, right? If you're going to buy a house, eventually you'll need to know about mortgages and stuff like that. And just because you're not going to buy a house in, we'll say, in a couple of years, eventually you're going to want to buy a house, right? You need to know what's going to happen when I open that account up, right? Or money markets or certificates. You need to know basically, why do they have these? Why does the credit union, why does the bank have these products? They have them for you to use. If you're not using them, you're not doing yourself a service, essentially. Okay? And that's just on accounts themselves. And also, I can just keep going and going. Also, loans too. So that's just accounts that you can have. But these loan accounts, like I said, the mortgage, right? If you're going to buy a car at some point, you need to know about a vehicle loan, motorcycle, truck, car, whatever it is, right? A boat. If you think that's a vehicle, sure, we have boat loans too. There's a bunch of different things like home equities or lines of credit, personal assistance loans, signature loans. There's something for everyone that you should take advantage of, right? And when you go there, just ask for information. You're not asking to open up an account, right? So I have something here. I don't know if it's going to be very clear to the viewer here, but this is just an example of what we have. So this is a rate sheet at work. It's basically a sheet. Can you put this in here?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm getting, kind of like go down a little bit, right? So it's split in half. It's split in half on different accounts you can have, and the other side is loans and things like that, right? Even just asking, do you have a pamphlet? Do you have any info that you can make, help me out? And no one's going to turn you away. They're not going to say, I don't have that. I'm not giving it to you. They're a bank or a credit union. They want you to have it. They want you to prosper. Because when you start getting money, it makes the bank or the credit union look better. It's as simple as that. You look good, I look good. It's a partnership. That's how it works. Right? And so basically, learn what you have available to you. Everyone's entitled to this. Everyone. Absolutely. And from that point, we move on to just saving in general. Right? So you need to save money. Absolutely. I have a couple friends now. I've heard this from a couple different people, 4 or 5 people now. It's really disgusting, honestly. Okay. They think that they don't need to save money. Why would I save money when I'm living now and I don't know when the next day, I don't know if I'm going to be alive the next day, right? We saw a play recently where someone, they thought they were going to live forever, but they died, okay? And they left their kid. They left nothing. That's not a good system, right? Essentially, you want to be saving for the future. If you need to ask yourself, like, do I have a plan for saving? It's probably not doing too good for you, right? You need to have some kind of system set in place, okay? And the accounts that I talked about before, about saving money, you need to utilize those higher yield savings accounts, right? You need to utilize the money markets or the premier savings or the certificates of deposit or the college savings. Anything that is there for you, use it, okay? have a system in place and have a budget in place, right? So every time you get a paycheck, where does that money go to? You need to know where it goes. It goes here, there, bills, this. But the first thing you need to do is you need to save the money, and then the bills come afterwards. Absolutely.
All right, I have 2 cents to put in.
Go ahead, throw it out there.
Okay, so in terms of a savings plan, so you can do it in any way that you feel makes sense to you or works for you. For a long time, it's kind of changed recently since the job I have, I'm not making as much money, so I had to kind of change what I'm doing. But for whatever reason, it made sense in my mind to basically put in my head that I don't have any money. So I would get paid, I'd pay my tithes and my offering, and then I'd take a huge amount of my check and put it into my savings. And in my mind, anything in my savings was invisible money. It's not real. So I just never touched it. And so I'd live off of like $150 per week. Keep in mind, I'm only 21. I'm not really doing too much besides going out to eat for real. So I'd live off of that $150. And once I got like, $70 and I had a few days before my next paycheck, I was like, I have no money. I can't spend anything anymore. Even though I have a huge amount of money in my savings account, I just put in my mind, it's not real money. I can't touch it.
So that's discipline.
Yeah.
That's true. That's well, like you said, for you guys, you're 21,
Mhm.
right? So
Definitely, the age difference matters too. We'll
yes.
get later as well.
Okay, but good job though. Awesome. There's a lot of 21-year-olds out here. That's amazing. Okay, go ahead, y'all.
Well, building on from that too, like, yes, you have a system. Not everyone should have the same system too, because it doesn't make sense for them to have the same system. Everyone is different, right? Everyone's different. They have their own unique circumstances for what they need to do, right? You might not be able to save for 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, but you better save at some point. You have to save. Absolutely. Because if you don't save, and we'll get onto this later, you can't invest your money. It's as simple as that. If you don't save, you can't invest. That's it. And
you say you don't save, you can't invest, or you can invest. What you say?
Cannot. If you can't save, cannot. It won't make sense. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. If you can't save your money, then where's that money going to be coming from for you to invest your money? It has to come from somewhere.
Right.
You got to have a budget. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And Trinity has a system which I think is good and it'll be useful for everyone. It's an automated system. We'll get on that later.
Okay.
But there's a lot of content out there on how to budget, right? And everyone's got their certain systems. I see one that I never agree with about the cash envelopes. There's like cash stuffing that you have a certain system. Hey, I saved this. I'm going to take it out in cash and put it somewhere, right? Not the best system, but whatever gets you to save money, do it, right? I like to automate mine, right? So every time I get paid, the money just goes. It's already gone. I don't have it. It's already saved. So I don't even have to think about it. But if you prefer to do something more manually, and that makes more sense for you because it's more concrete, you can see the evidence of you saving the money because you can see it right in front of you. If that's more important to you and that gets you more motivated, absolutely do it, right? And beyond this budgeting, now we move on, okay? We move on to credit cards, right? Debit versus credit. This is another facet of being financially smart, right? Part of this investing sphere is having credit. You need to have credit. Absolutely, you need to have credit. Unfortunately, I don't want credit, just like everybody else. I think it's a scam and it's a waste. Sure.
It's stupid.
Why do we need credit? For many different things. Many different things.
You said credit cards is bad?
For a lot of people, the average American, it is, yeah. Because if you can't handle credit and you get carried away with it, now you hold debt on you that's putting all this weight down, right? That's adding more stress to you. That's why it's bad. But it can be used for good if you do it right. Just like with most things, right? In moderation, right? That's what my dad says all the time. So a credit card could be good for a couple of different reasons, right? I'll touch on some brief ones here because we're going over a lot of topics, okay? And again, any questions, throw it out there, okay? So it's good for travel. So when you travel, sometimes you'll get some foreign transaction fees reversed, right? Or sometimes it won't be as high because you're using a credit card versus a debit card. That is a fact. Okay. It's also easier for fraud prevention because you can reverse charges that are not you. It's easier to do that. They have it implemented into the credit card. Now, of course, you can reverse charges on a debit card, but it's been known to be easier on a credit card. Okay. So it's good for travel, good for fraud prevention, and also it's good for rewards, right? The credit cards have long had this where they have the frequent flyer miles. You'll get miles on your card based upon how much you use on your credit card, right? Now you want to use that. When you use your credit card, you want to be using it for stuff you normally use, right? It's nothing abnormal, groceries, gas, and stuff like that. And it also could be used for an emergency. This is the last resort thing that you're going to be using your credit card for. And this is money you don't necessarily have, but oh my God, my car broke down. I need to use it because I need to get my car back working so I can go to work. Simple as that, right? And it's different than a debit card because it gives you that grace period. There's a grace period of when the money actually comes out. That's absolutely important for some people, right? There's that one, you should be doing it once a month, paying it off, the statement balance, if you can, because people are different levels, but you should be doing that, right? And so there's that time period where the money comes out one time, okay? Now, that's just some of the benefits. There's a lot more, but really you need to build that credit up for, basically you want to be eligible to have different loans and different products available to you. So if you have bad credit, you're going to be turned away. You can't even rent a home. You can't even live some places because they check your credit. So if your credit's bad, it should be around 700. They say 700 is a pretty good score. 650, 700 is relatively good. Anything below that, you might not have had a long enough history. There's a bunch of different factors that go into a credit score. And there's 3 bureaus. There's a lot. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Scam. But you still need to use it. So, and using a credit card too, when you have that better credit, it'll save you money and it gives you better rates on if you want to buy a car loan. She has a friend, Casey, we'll shout out Casey, that she wants to get a car. She wants to buy a car, but she had to first get a secured credit card. So she builds up the credit and then she goes to get her loan. And so the loan is not obscenely high, right? You just bought a car.
Yeah. When I bought my car, my credit it's still really good now, but it was like at an all-time high there. So I bought that car with what's it called? No cosigner.
Which was excellent.
I bought the car with no cosigner, and I think my monthly payment, they're high because I'm a first-time car buyer, and also I don't have a long credit history because just like he said, I felt like credit was a scam. I think it's stupid, but it's important because that's how capitalism is. So you got to play the role, So I didn't have a long enough credit history, so I got the loan that I got, and it's a decent one for my age. What was the point? Sorry.
The point is that you couldn't have gotten that without credit.
Yeah.
You can't buy a house. You can buy a house without credit, but it's a complicated process. You should have a good credit score. Pay your loans on time. If you miss a payment, it's not the end of the world, but it's gonna hurt you. Just know that. It's not life ending, but they do penalize you for that, unfortunately, when you miss a payment because they want you to pay your loans on time, and it shows that you have a good reputation. That's the thing as well.
I have a question. So you're paying your loan or car or whatever for years, and then you miss one payment, it messes with your credit.
Absolutely.
Miss one payment.
One payment. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Oh, they'll get. They know they want their money whenever it is. Let's say it's the 15th, right at the middle of the month. They want on that 15th. If you're not giving it on the 15th, they know. And also, while we're on this topic too, I definitely think if you already have a credit score, I think this is very important too, to have either the app or like the online platform of Experian, right? That's one of the three credit bureaus is Experian. Downloading the app, you need to
Mhm.
find out what your credit score is, what it is, right? I think it's very important. You should at least be looking at how much money you have, probably like, I don't know, once a week, right? Looking at how much money you have, did anything change? You should be reviewing your finances. Same thing with the credit score, but you should be doing it less. Maybe once a month, one or twice, or
Mhm.
once every 2 months, right? Just check what is it at. It's important because if you want,
Okay, I have a question. I have one since you said I had a question because it's different because I'm constantly checking mine, right?
Mhm.
So Capital One has credit wise, and then one bank has you got the FICO score, and then you got the Vantage.
Mhm.
So what's the difference between all three of those?
So great question. It is so all three of the bureaus are going on something, right? They're checking it more frequently. The rest of them are not. There's a big difference between a soft pull and a
Mhm.
hard pull in your credit, right? When you go to take a loan out, let's say, for example, the car loan, they're going to do a hard pull. They're going to basically look at all the times you've made a payment, right?
Okay.
They're going to see, did you make a payment this time, this time, this time, this time, this time? Is it yes? Okay, your credit's going to be good. They're going to give you a more accurate rating when you go for a car loan. On all these other platforms, they do a soft pull. They go, okay, let me look at it. Let me not look too deeply into it. And a hard pull as well. Sorry, I'm getting all over the place. The hard pull will affect your credit score as well. When they do that, it will fluctuate. Soft pull is like, hey, last time I checked, your credit was at this. Is it still there? Okay. Let me not do too much more investigation on that.
And so that's with the apps that she mentioned.
Yes, they typically will not do a hard pull. They're doing a soft pull on things.
Oh, okay. Because like one place I see, I'm like 30 points. I'm like,
They're
damn.
gonna
And then I go to somewhere else. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. I just saw 30 points. Okay.
alter three of the bureaus to TransUnion, Experian. I forget the other one. There's
Experian, TransUnion, and Echo something.
Equifax.
Equifax?
Equifax. Yes, Equifax.
I have a question for you after you finish.
No, no, no. I was just gonna say all of them are different as well, based upon the criteria that they deem is worthy. That's why it's kind of a scam because they can change how they view things. That
Oh,
that's sort of the issue. That's why there's three of them because they all view things differently.
okay.
So go ahead.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. I have the first question is, can you erase late payments?
Erasing late payments. Off the top of my head, I want to say no. It's going to stay with you unless for some circumstances that you delete them, right? By way of like bankruptcy or somehow you negotiate to have your debt turned into something else, right? For example, more so my credit, this is I think is important too. I don't want to scare anyone, but my credit was stolen. So someone did steal my identity briefly, and I had accounts in my name that I negotiated to have my removed because they weren't me that opened those accounts up, right? It was a scary time, but I did solve it. You just call the company up and say, "Hey, this is not me." Go through some negotiations to prove that. And based upon the information that they give or that you give, they'll know. So that's one way, right? Or if you don't pay a loan and then it goes to collections, there's a lot of different processes for credit. Basically, don't worry about erasing the bad credit, just make your payments on time. That's the gist of it. And the more types of credit that you have too is important. Are you paying a car loan? Do you have a credit card? Multiple credit cards is good, but it's a lot for one person to handle.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. I have someone at work with me that has like 13 credit cards. He is ultra organized. That is very abnormal for a lot of people to handle. You can't do that. You can't. For the everyday person, 1 is good enough. 2 at most, right? If you have like a Kohl's card or a Lowe's or something like that, right? A Lowe's card, Home Depot, put something, you get a fridge, put it on there. That's good towards your credit as well.
Okay,
All
the
the-
next.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
The next question is, what about Nexus Lexus?
I don't know that one.
Is that the? Is that the? I don't know.
I
Come
don't know.
back again and ask the question. Nexus. Are you talking about the attorney, the law Nexus? No, that is not it. I'm not sure. Say it again. Say it again, please. Now you saying you should only have like a
Nexus?
four or five cards. How many cards does a person really have?
Really, if you're, it's a tough call. I think you should have 2 at most, right? Because
Oops.
you need to put on one card, you really need to have like groceries. The other card, you need to have gas. You should not be putting any kind of important purchases. Oh, I'm sorry. You shouldn't be putting any kind of like silly like food purchases on it. You shouldn't be doing that. It's really using it wisely and consistently. Every time and put on auto payment. Auto payment is right from heaven right there. Auto payment's great. Every
Okay,
time
so
it comes up, whatever it is,
mhm.
comes right out of the checking, right out of your savings, just paid off.
Okay, so I've heard where you can, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yes. So if you don't use your card, yes, you should be using your card. If you have an account open,
Mm-hmm.
you should use it. Absolutely. There's so many different facets of credit. It's complicated. Like if you open up your first credit card, you should always keep that because it shows that you have credit for a long time. If you close an account, like if you close a credit card, it's going to hurt against you, unfortunately.
Right,
They
right.
want to see that you're taking loans out basically. It's a loan.
Okay. Okay. The question is, let's go back. The question is on the floor. Nexus Lexus is where the credit reporting agencies get their information. It's another credit bureau.
Mm. I don't know anything about this one necessarily. Next. Don't know about this one. Wouldn't say anything. I only
Okay.
speak on what I know.
Okay. That's what we're talking about. All right. Go ahead.
If that person that's asking about it, if it works for them, if it works for you, by all means do it. That's what I say. If it's not harming and it's helping, go for it. Do you have anything to add?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. In terms of credit though, we can move on towards debt, right? So when you have your credit, it's part of debt. And having debt is another big element of having a good like financial intelligence, right? Having debt is not necessarily bad, but again, it's bad for most people because they can't handle it. So because it's a lot of pressure, right? Because if you owe someone a lot of money, right? If I owe Trinity like a house, if I owe $200,000, I'm gonna feel that. I'm gonna feel that. I can't make that go away like that because I owe this money. I need to keep making payments, right? That weighs on you. And now everyone has to buy a house, right? Because a house is important, but there's a debt that comes along with that. Right now, houses are very expensive. So when you go to buy a house, you really need to think about if I have a 30-year mortgage or 15-year, 20-year, whatever, right? You need to think about where you're going to be in the future. This is important to think about. And besides that, or having a car, right? And having debt for a long time, you're going to be paying that off for years. So you need to really think this through, right? We think real hard and real long about buying a phone, right? We make silly purchases all the time. We think really hard about that. When it comes to buying a home, sometimes, cut some corners or buying a car. We really want this car. Why do you want the car? Is it going to be long-term good, or are you just buying this for a year or two, right? My understanding is that you should buy a car because you want it to last a while. You want to use this because, maybe it's going to be a family home family car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you just want it to look good. Sure, if you want it to look good, you're going to keep it for a while. Just remember that, right? Don't flip-flop because that's expensive. When you start choosing this and this and that and going on to this, the next best thing, right? Terrible decision for you. Financially, that's a terrible decision. Think it through. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, investing. The joy.
I'm waiting for that one.
The best thing, right? So to start off, right? We talked about saving. We've talked about different accounts that you can have, right? So at this stage, now you've looked into different accounts. Maybe you have a credit card, you're saving up, you have a budget, you have a system in place, right? All these different things, you have the foundation. You got the foundation, right? So now you can invest for your future, right? You want to have retirement way down the line. Everyone wants to stop working at some point. Trinity wants to stop working right now.
Yeah, I'm over it. So scam.
So you need to be investing for the future. Absolutely, right? Because compound interest will always, every single time, beat out saving. You cannot save your way to retirement, but you can invest your way to retirement. And there's many different ways for investing.
I think you should explain what compound
Oh,
interest is.
absolutely. So compound interest, will make it very simple, right? If you have, let's say you have a CD, we'll make it very simple.
It's a CD.
What is a CD? Okay.
You need to use
Okay.
acronyms.
Okay. Certificate of deposit, right? If you have $100 in a certificate of deposit, it is locked up with the bank, right? The bank says, we'll take your $100, but you can't touch this for a certain time period. We'll say 6 months. You can't touch this for 6 months, okay? Now we're going to keep this money and we'll give you a little interest on that. Go ahead, we'll give you some interest. So when it comes time for your 6 months to be up, your certificate of deposit matures, and then your $100, it might have a certain percentage, and when you go to look at it, it'll be 110, right? Simple as that. When you get your money back, it'll be more than you had before, okay? And why do you want this? Because we all want money. Remember, give me my money. Simple as that. So that's what compound interest is. Every time that's for a CD, but I'm so deep in the rabbit hole. This is very, so when you have your money, you're putting your money into a bucket, right? You want it to keep return with more. That's the compound interest, okay? There is an important calculator that I would show, but for now, the viewer, it'll be more important for the viewer to go find this for themselves. Absolutely is important. So you're going to want to go to, this is just one I found online, very simple, I like it. You're going to go to nerdwallet.com, okay? And you're going to look up compound interest calculator, okay? Please do this for yourself. And you can play around with it. You can change how much your starting value is, how much you're going to deposit every month or every year. There's a timeline. Play around with it. Look at the tool. It has directions on how to use it, okay? And you could put in, hey, I start with $0, right? And if I put in $50 per month, and let's say I get this interest rate, right? Because you're going to go to your bank or your credit union or wherever, and you're going to find out what that interest rate is, right? So you can compare and see what the difference is. You go there, say, hey, what's my interest rate? Then you could go back to your house and pull up your phone, put it in the calculator, and find out how much you're going to make in 10 years, in 15 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, right? Whatever your plan is for your money, because it's your money. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Now with investing, there's many different things, many different tools for which you can open up accounts. But the easiest one, I'll say, the easiest one is for when you go to ask, I'll always say the credit union because I work there, but go to wherever you think is best, right? You're going to go to your bank. This is easy one. Just go there and say, I would like to invest my money, and talk to a licensed professional. Why would you talk to a professional? because they're a professional. They're an expert in their field, right? They will guide you on what to do. That's the easiest thing. So it could be out of your mind and you'll know what your money's doing. They can explain things to you, right? You can also do it right from your phone at home too. And I will touch on that right now. But those are two different options, right? You can either go somewhere, talk to someone, say, hey, I'd like to invest my money. I would like to put this into this, and I want it to be held for this amount of time. Perfect. They love to help you because you're helping them, they're helping you. It's a partnership, like I talked about before. It all comes full circle. So there's a lot of things here. So first things I'll talk about, right? There's something called a brokerage. So when you invest your money, you're investing through a brokerage. Now, you're going to step in a little bit.
Okay.
So a brokerage is kind of like the middleman, right? Forget it. It's okay. Right? On this side, we got you. And you want to invest. You got to go through the middleman first. This is the brokerage. And it's an online platform to which you buy, this is the other side, a company. That's what a stock is, okay? A stock of a company is a direct representation of that company, okay? We'll make an easy example. There's a lot of companies that are public. Walmart, everybody knows Walmart. It has a stock. It's a publicly traded stock. It has a stock associated with it. When Walmart makes big profits from charging you everything, and you go in there and you buy all their products, they make money. What happens? Their stock will go up. They pay out dividends. There's all these different things that go into it, but you have to go through a brokerage, okay? And a couple of these maybe you've heard of. I'll list off a couple of them. You can use whatever you want. Again, this is your personal finance, so you can do multiple things. Me and Trinity use different things because something that works for me might not work for her. Simple as that. So there's Fidelity. These are all big name companies. Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Interactive Brokers, E-Trade, Ally Invest, JP Morgan Wealth Management, Webull, Robinhood, SoFi, Principal, Wealth Fund. I could talk endlessly about all these. And they all do a similar thing. They let you, if you put money into this, you make an account, you put money into it, right? You are able to buy public companies, okay? Some other ones too. TD Ameritrade, Public, Acorns. That's a popular one. There's one called Moo, and M1 Finance, which Trinity uses. For how long have you been using it?
I think 2 years now.
2 years,
Yeah.
okay. So with this, there's many different accounts, but I'm gonna make it very simple. You have to go through the brokerage, okay, to make an account for yourself. Now, there's different types of accounts on which you can make stuff, right? There's individual retirement accounts, there's taxable accounts, things along those lines. Those are more complicated, but I'm making it real simple. Make an account, put money in, invest it for the long term. Simple as that, okay? It's not complicated. It only seems complicated because we're looking into a storefront, right? We're looking at all the things that we don't have currently. But we need to go into the store. This is a nice metaphor. Go into the store, do it. Dip your feet in. You have to. There's a couple different things here. So the first thing is start as soon as possible. Now, everyone is at different stages of their life. Everyone's at different ages, different stages, right? Some people are financially experts, others are not. Now, just because you started a certain way in your life, maybe people around you weren't super financially intelligent, right? It's not your fault, it's not their fault, but the issue is that if you don't know something, you need to go out and find it, what it is. What is it? What is the stock market? You need to be searching. Don't wait for someone like me to tell you what it is. Go out there and look. When I moved out the first time, there was a gap in my understanding of investing in money and why is there a difference? Why do people do this? Why do people do that? I'm a very curious person by nature. So at that time, I studied and did my due diligence. I did my research to figure out what I needed to do to set myself up for right now. I would never know that I'm here with you doing this right now if I hadn't invested my money. Absolutely. So some of the three biggest things for investing are online when it talks about like the stock market, blah blah blah. In like 2008, I'll go back in time a little bit. 2008 was a bad time. The stock market, the real estate market was crashing, and then the stock market crashed as well. And they were talking about, oh my God, the NASDAQ is down by 300 points. The Dow Industrial Jones is down 500 points. What does that mean? What is that referring to, right? So the Dow Industrial Jones is essentially a fund. It's like a big basket, okay? It's a big basket where there's 30 stocks in it, 30 companies, okay? So when they say that this is going down, this is going up, this basket is tracking multiple companies, okay? This is complicated, so ask your questions if you need to, but this is tracking multiple companies. It's tracking, Walmart, Target, or things of that nature. Let me think of other companies there's so many. Apple, Microsoft. There's these big companies. It's all part of this basket, and it's tracking the market. That's what they're referring to, right? The NASDAQ is a little bit more complicated, but we'll make it simple. It's 100 of the biggest companies, right? It's a little bit more. It's spread out. The basket is a little bit bigger, okay? Dow Jones 30, NASDAQ 100. We'll make it simple. And then there's another one too, which is called the S&P 500, which is what I've put Trinity to invest into, okay? The S&P 500 is the 500 biggest companies. Make it very simple. It's the 500 biggest companies in the U.S., okay? These are big name companies that we all know and love, unfortunately, or fortunately. And it tracks that, and that's a fund. So let's say I put money into one of these things that I was talking about. We'll make it simple. Into Fidelity is the first one I talked about, right? So if I put $500 into Fidelity, right? I transfer from my bank, I connect them. So I transfer from my bank, the credit union, move it over to Fidelity, and I tell Fidelity in the platform, I say, I want to buy some shares. I want to buy some shares of the S&P 500 fund. So I put my $500 into the 500 biggest companies. Now, my money is going to fluctuate based upon how good are these companies doing? Are they making money? Are they making profits? Now my money is going to fluctuate. Over time, my money will generally increase. And that is the compound interest at effect. Is that making sense so far? Any questions?
Yes. Okay. So if I take from my 401k.
Wait.
No.
Oh, well, ask your question.
Okay.
Ask your question, because it's complicated. Ask your question, though.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to remove, because you can invest, because we can go invest. We can go into our own 401k. We can change the stocks, change whatever numbers we want to go to, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Mm.
So I wanted to roll over or take from my 401k from there and then put it into my credit union into a stock or two or whatever. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it grows. You leave it there and it grows. I can't think of the name of it. It's just like boop, right in my head. Not a stock.
I understand the concept.
IRA.
Mutual fund? Is it a mutual fund? That's what they said.
Say it again.
Mutual fund?
What, my 401k?
No. The other thing you want to move it to.
IRA.
An IRA. That's what you. Okay. So that is possible. Now, the reason why I was hesitant, though, is because usually your 401k, there's a lot of layers with that. Your 401k, typically you are already are investing into something.
Mm-hmm.
So I would find out what you are invested into. See if you can change it first before you start moving money over.
Okay.
What you already are invested in.
I do the 401k, and I also do the other one. I can't think of the name, where it takes the you pay the taxes up front. So then the money, it's an IRA. It's like,
Roth IRA?
yes, a Roth. I can't think. Yeah.
People don't know about this. I'm glad that you have this. So yes, these it should already be putting, you already have a basket for that, for those instances, right? Whatever it is it with, now we want to touch on this too. Do you have a 401k Roth IRA? Is this from your job?
Yes, both are. I put it in both.
Okay. Now, this is a great example. I'm gonna touch on this in a second too. But Trinity's job does not. Now, it's a problem. But there's a lot of people that have a job that do not incentivize you to invest your money. You have to really do it. So that's why Trinity does it besides her job, right? That's why she has an investing account, right? Not a 401k, but she can have a 401k, right? But her job doesn't offer it. That's the problem. You really want to find a job that has, yes, it has benefits like healthcare, dental, there's stuff like that, or vacation time, sick time, but really you want that 401k. There is no longer, or there's very few jobs that have a pension, which is something I don't fully understand myself. Maybe you already do, Juanita, but I don't. My dad has always said, work in a trade so you can get a pension, or like my mom teaching. But there's a lot of jobs that don't offer that anymore. So the 401k is the new thing of the future. So the jobs that do not even offer that are very poor quality. But unfortunately, we have to work these jobs. So Trinity's taken a different route to invest for her retirement eventually in a couple months.
Hopefully.
Okay, before you continue, time, I want to make sure that someone in here have any questions before we start winding up. I want to make sure you put everything out, because you came on here late. I want to make sure that everything is put on the table, because I want everybody to hear. One of the reasons I wanted to do this is because I want the young people and the young adults and the youth to hear stuff like this, so they will know, so they don't have to struggle when they get adult age and they're living on their own. I'm tired of seeing that, and I want this generation to change. So this is going to help, and not just the young adults and the youth. We've got a lot of adults on here that don't know a lot, right? So that's helping. So if anybody have any questions, either on Facebook or YouTube, please post your questions now. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. No question is a dumb question.
What's a stock? What's a company? I don't care. Ask it. I don't care. I will answer anything and everything.
Oh, I do have a question. I was looking at it and I didn't go back to it. Let me go back to it. What companies, our sister B asked it. What I think it was, what companies, how do you know which companies to invest in? The legit.
Big question. That's a very important question. What companies to invest in, right? Now, I want to be careful with this too. Individual companies, like we talked about Walmart, or I think Texas Roadhouse has a stock too. Trinity loves Texas Roadhouse.
I love their biscuits.
These single companies, or let me think of another one. Said Target. There's so many. I'm drawing a blank. Or there's bank stocks too. Single companies have more risk than the basket we talked about. Why? Why do they have more risk? Because a single company, if it goes up, you go up big time, right? But if they go down, you lose everything. Okay? And when you invest your money, you can only lose. So if I put $500 in, I could only lose $500. Now, there's other things you can do that will make you lose more stuff, which is called margin, but don't worry about that. We're not doing that. Okay. However, like I said, one company, it could be really good, it could be really bad. I would typically stick to the funds, right? Companies, it's a big basket. There's a lot of well-established companies, right? But how you know is based upon how is the fund performed over time. Okay, that's a big factor, right? So this something that I talked about earlier was the Dow Industrial Jones, right? Or the Nasdaq, or these things have been around for years, okay, years, seriously. I'm gonna look it up now. I think I already know the answer, but I'll tell you. Take a pause. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and Trinity could be my eyes on this one, has been around since it's been along for many years. When was this founded? Say that year.
Jesus. 1896.
What was that?
1896.
1896. Yeah.
Wow.
1896. So it's tracked. The stock market has been around for a long time. Okay? It's a well-established thing. And also, investing is not just stocks, okay? There's different things that you can invest your money into. There's gold and silver. Bonds is also an important one too. There's different elements. I'm just talking about stocks here because that's something that we all can understand a little bit easier. Gold as well. I mean, it's a gold bar. It doesn't do anything. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think because I analyzed the question a little bit differently, he mentioned that we use two different platforms for investing.
And I want you to talk about too how you invest. You can talk about that now.
Okay.
Important. But go
So he because he has more knowledge, he spends time like looking into all of this financial stuff. I don't because for me it's a little bit more complex for me. You guys know I'm into like the arts and stuff. When you start talking about math, you gotta give me some time. I need time to understand it. So for him, he likes to control what companies he's buying and owning with. For me, I don't care which ones. I don't really have a preference, so that's why I invest into the S&P 500 because it's passive income, but I really hold on to the word passive. I don't pay attention. Like I look at my financial stuff a lot just because I like to see what my money is doing, but I don't actively he's actively every whatever he's
every
selling and doing. I can't.
Wait.
More consistently than I am.
Okay, I guess, sure.
He has a better rap on it, and I just passively right now, as I said, the job I'm working at is not the best. So, and because my tuition is a little bit more than it used to be, right now I only invest $35 every week. Comes straight out of. I just take it out of my savings because, like I said, my savings it's not real money. I have a lot of money in my savings, so I take it out of there. And it goes into my investments. And then every once in a while, I'll go into my investment app and I'll see. Like recently, I just hit $12,000 within the stock market. And that's just in 2 years. I feel like that's pretty good. I don't know. Maybe some investment guy might say that, I'm not doing well. But
the things.
$12,000.
I'm a cut in here too. It's excellent. It's excellent that you did that. But you achieved this success because you were consistent.
Yeah.
Consistently doing it. Every time, I don't know what day. It doesn't matter. Let's say it's a Wednesday or a Tuesday.
I invest every Thursday. It takes money out of my account. And it puts it into the stock market. In the past, when I was making more money, when I was a manager and stuff, I think I was putting up to $100 every week. And that's really where it started to boom. I think at one point when I was a manager, sometimes I would just take my quarterly bonus and just put the whole thing into my investments. Because he told me to. I was not.
Well, because I don't want to keep cutting you off, but it's important.
No, you're good.
It's important though because you're looking at the long term, right? We're not looking at months. We're not looking 4 to 5 months for a quick little buck. We're looking long term because we want to build Keyword generational wealth.
Mhm.
We want to have enough wealth. So eventually, I hope I have kids. I want to have kids. But when there's kids involved, or even just yourself, your money is not just for you, right? There's people around you that will benefit from you being stable. Okay. Your stability goes in multiple ways. Okay. And it's that consistency again, consistency, long term, you're dedicated.
Mhm.
You can see the numbers go up and up and up and up. And eventually, now this is not a, I want to talk about this too, because eventually I told you this, the stock market will go down. It will, absolutely. Over the course of 1896 or whatever, the stock market has crashed and it will crash again. But that's not something you need to be scared about, right? Because it's going to happen. It's going to happen just like we all die at some point. It will happen. But if I just sit here in fear, oh my God, you'll never invest. You'll never invest. You'll never live your life. You need to keep moving forward.
But don't
And
you lose? Don't you lose if it crashes? Does you lose what's in there, right?
correct. However, so from 2008, because that's the most recent big crash. There was one
Mhm.
in one, but it's okay. From 2008, let's see what the price was in 2008. This is good for graph stuff, but let's see.
I'm gonna cut it one more time because we didn't wrap
Go
up.
right ahead. Go right ahead.
I feel like we didn't wrap up that first question.
No,
Basically,
absolutely. Cool.
if you feel like you want to have more control and picking what companies you want to support, like I remember when we first started talking about this, you were on the fence about certain companies, like cigarette companies, because you don't support smoking. So if you want to control, like I don't want to be putting my money towards this company because they do this, then you can do whatever. I don't know exactly what you do. You do whatever he does.
You make
Or
it personal.
yeah,
Make
you
it
make
personal.
it personal. Or if you just don't care and you want to be able to invest and you want it to just passively be putting money towards the stock market, you do what I do and just have the money come out and every once in a while see where your graph the app I use, it shows you a graph and I see like where it's dipped a little bit, but also like how my money is growing.
You can move it too, right? You can. It's there, and you see it growing. It's like, oh, I'm taking out. So you got $50,000. Okay, I'm gonna take 40 of that thousand and go put it into your, pull it back out and put it into your savings or your checking account or whatever, and then let the 10,000 stay there, right?
So, well, you know what I'm gonna say, right?
No, I just want to see what you want.
Okay. So, yes, that money grows, and eventually you'll move it into your savings. However, it is growing like that for multiple reasons, right? You're letting it ride. If you
Okay.
honestly need that money, then go and dip into the money. But there are tax implications that is with
Wow.
beyond the scope of this call here today. But there are tax implications depending on the account that you've made. That's why you have to talk to a professional.
Mhm.
I'm just a guy here, but you need to talk to a tax professional
Mhm.
and basically a licensed person that will show you on what to invest in and the risk and things along those lines, right? I wanted to touch on a different point. Stay with me here. So from the stock market, everybody knows the pandemic. I'll start from somewhere. I keep using 2008, big one. The older generation will know 2008, but also the pandemic. The stock market went down when the pandemic hit. Absolutely. Now, everyone, if you're listening in, look up right now where the S&P 500 is. Is it higher, lower, or the same? I'll give you the short answer. It's high. Okay. So when these crashes happen, right? The market does dip and you do lose your money
Mhm.
if you sell your money, right? We can't see the future, but over time the stock market goes up. So if there's a little blip where it goes down,
Mhm.
let's say you might lose half your value. That's a reality. Trinity you might go down to $6,000. If you do that, you're investing for the long term, right? You're investing for years. She might not see the same number again for a few years, okay?
Okay.
But the reality is she's going to keep investing.
Okay.
That's the important part. Stay consistent,
Mhm.
stay mentally strong. Don't make any impulse decisions. Just like with buying a house or buying a car, you want to spend time. Why am I picking this? What's the date? You have a plan in place.
Okay.
When
All right.
when bad things happen, have a plan in place so that your mind is at ease.
Gotcha. All right. Before we wind up, we got a couple more questions on the post on here. Okay, so someone said, "I am not dedicated enough to leave $12,000 in the stock market. I will have to take half out."
But why? See, the reason is everyone, like I said, everyone's at a different level.
Mm.
You want to take 6 out for what? What is that for?
Just save just in case. Well, this is my okay. That's what I'm glad you're on here because this is my mindset. If I got $12,000 in sitting there, right, and maybe it's cause of fear. We don't live by fear. We're not supposed to. But if you got $12,000 sitting there and then it crashes. So if you're gonna take $6,000 out of that and go put it back into the account because now you're gonna gain, $12,000. Now you got $6,000 for it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's how if
Correct.
I'm if
I,
unconventional
Go ahead.
mama,
I
if
got it.
that's the same way you're thinking.
My answer to that is if you feel like too afraid that the stock we don't know when it's going to crash, but if you're concerned and you feel like you need to have some fallback money, that was your number one issue because just like he said from the beginning, why are you investing if you never had fallback money anyway? I'm investing money into the stock market, but I have fallback money in my savings account, liquid money.
What is that called? Very important, everyone.
Liquid money.
Fund. Woo woo.
So again, if you're worried about things going astray, we're going to hit another pandemic and now the stock market's crashing and you're losing half of you should be like, okay, whatever. I still have this amount of money in my savings account where I'll be all right. Yes, it's
I see. I see where you.
didn't have anything already in liquid money to fall back on.
You're not investing money, right? So we talked about a point I made before, somewhere here. The money that you invest, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
Just get out of your mind, right? This is for long term, for years. Whatever plan you have in place, if it's 5 years, worry about it. You can look at it occasionally, right? But you're not making any big moves, okay? None of us are these super geniuses, right? No one's a super genius. They don't have all the answers. They don't know what is going to happen at what point. No one does. No one has any answers. I don't. I certainly don't. I don't know.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. I think I want to make sure that I heard you correct, and I have another question. So what you're saying is, and what I'm thinking I got from Trinity is that if you got $10,000 if you got $2,000, just say in
Mhm.
your own bank account, your savings, right? Say if you take 1,000 of that out, because the 2,000 is your liquid, right?
Yes,
Let her finish. It's an example.
this is an example, but I'm gonna stop you there because
Mm.
the emergency fund is there, right? You need to have 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's what the emergency.
And your safety before you start investing.
Absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely.
honey, a lot of well, I'm telling you right.
Plan in place. A plan in place, right?
Mhm.
That's the most important piece. You need to put your mind at ease. If your mind is somewhere else and you're investing money that you really should not be doing, you're
Mhm.
not setting yourself up. You're not being kind to yourself. Because
Okay. Okay, so before you even think about investing, and anybody here have the question or thinking on the same level, let me know. For the women, for the people that's 40 and 50 years older, because you got a lot of people that's going to be watching this now and millions going to be watching this later. For them that do not have a 401k, do not have a savings, but they want to invest because they want to grow money. So what you're saying is before you invest, you should have 5 to 6 months of saving because that's your liquid fund in your savings before you take any of that to go invest.
that is why I touched on saving first. That
Mm.
that's the first thing. Yes. You can't what if something happens to you, right? Because something can happen. Anything can happen to anyone. That's the truth. I can drive here and something could happen to me. I can get in an accident. I need to know that there is at least something there that is maybe going to help my car, or if I hurt somebody else, right? I am thinking about somebody else. If I hit somebody else, I need to be able to pay for them, right? The insurance, regardless of insurance, right? Whatever happens, I need to make sure that situation is rectified.
That's a totally different mindset when you come from. Honestly, that is it's a good thing. The mindset you're coming from, that is a beautiful thing to have because you're already saying, I'm going into this um either way, if the stock market, I go up or go down, I'm good. So
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
that's the mindset. So, oh, someone wrote, we poll
Exactly.
3 to 4 months with kids, so
Mm-hmm.
you gotta look
I
at
think
that angle too.
economy right now where it don't really matter how much money you're making. The economy, inflation is just crazy.
It
So
is. It
three
is.
to four kids with
But
inflation.
you feel it,
Yeah.
absolutely. But I know for a fact, regardless, there are some unique circumstances, right? But you have to be able to save something. There is a plan in place. If you we're going a little bit behind, but it's important, right?
Mm.
If you're working, I talked about get a job. If you're not making enough at your job, you need to switch jobs. That's really what it is. If you can't find a job, keep looking. Don't stop. You need to be determined. That's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Gotcha.
You need to make sure you can take, especially if you have kids too. You need to make sure you can take care of yourself and take care of them. That's the ultimate. That's like base. That really is number one. Kids.
Right.
I'd rather have my kids eat something than me. Absolutely.
Right. I have two more questions because we winding down and we passed a little bit over the hour. Blame
Okay.
me, y'all. Blame me. This question is for Trinity. They wanted to know what company that you invest in. Where is the question? What is the company you invest and where can I get the information to start?
Um, I invest into the S&P 500. That's the just like you said, the 500 biggest companies in America. So there's not one specific company that I invest in, but I use the app that I use is
M1 Finance.
M1 Finance. He recommended it to me, and it works out pretty well for me. Like I said, passive income is a little it means something a little different to me because yes, I'm making money passively, but also at the same time, I'm not thinking about it. You know.
I love the title of your name of the account name.
Oh
What is the
yeah,
name of the
so
account?
this app allows me to name my account that I have with him. I named it for future peace and happiness because that's just what I want. Once I get older, once in 5 years, I want to not be working and I want to have enough. I want to have enough money that I'm at peace and I'm happy, and that's just like my ultimate goal. Like the American dream is a scam. I've seen both of my parents work my whole life, and they worked, and I don't know if there was ignorance of being a child or ignorance of just not seeing stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
they worked. They did everything right, and the system still didn't work for them. And that's a whole nother story. But that's why you have to do things like this, where you're taking advantage of the stock market and stuff. I used to think before we started dating, I thought the stock market was a scam, and I was like, I'm not putting no money into that. I'm just gonna go to work and save my money. And when we started talking and dating, he saw the huge amount of money that I had in my savings because I was 19, and I don't think I was in school at that time. So every paycheck was just going straight to my savings. He was like, "What are you doing with this money?" And I was like, "Saving it." And he's like, "No, how are you making it grow? Because it's just sitting in that account doing nothing." That's how I started getting into the stock market and stuff. So again, whatever company or app you use, it
Mm-hmm.
depends on how you are. If you want to control what companies you invest in, then you do it that way. If you want to do it like I do, and you just don't care and send your money over there, then do it that way.
This is one of the main reasons, honestly, that I wanted you guys to come on here. From what you just said, Trinity, there's so many kids, youth, young adults now that have don't have a dime, don't have a clue. They'd rather go and spend all their money on clothes and shoes. You can do that, but you got to have some type of plan
Yeah.
because mama and daddy's not going to be here forever, and that you need to have a plan. So saving and doing all this stuff, investing, this is one of the reasons that I ask. This means a lot to me because I want them, I want our generation, I want the youth, the young adults to hear this and say, "Oh, I can do this too." You and you're the prime example, and I appreciate you guys coming on, Tommy and Trinity. I put TNT, the
We're both.
explosive, because that's yeah, boom. And I appreciate it because a lot of we have to do a part two. If anybody else need a part two, because I know it was a lot of stuff we didn't get to say, right? Because of the time, and I don't want to hold up everybody, hold up the this. I can't think of the word. The podcast, the podcast. I don't want to hold you guys up, and I don't want to hold hostage for everybody who watching. Someone said, "I like that. Speak it into existence." Talking to you, Trinity, for all the stuff because you're a trailblazer in timing, So that's. Oh yes, someone said part two, please. Yeah, we definitely have to do a part two. But next time, I think I want us to be in a setting where we're all sitting around and all together.
Oh yeah.
So someone else said we need some more information on stocks and 401k. So yeah, we're gonna come back. We're gonna do this again because I want to ask questions like cryptocurrency. You don't have to answer it now. Cryptocurrency and all this other stuff, and someone said I have so many questions. Okay, so we're gonna do a part two soon. Okay, is that good for you? Good. We're gonna get together and we're gonna do a part two soon. And then this time I'll make sure everything is correct because I'm going to, be with you guys, or maybe talk to your mom and we can all sit together and then
Mhm.
we know everything is good. I won't have another crash 2 minutes before it's time to go live. Sheesh, right? You have
And
any more closing?
we have, so I read two of these books for a while, and Trinity's mom, I think, has read one of them, but Trinity's read both of them. We just wanted to show two books that are very informational, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of financial books out there, but these two are kind of important.
So the first one is Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a pretty chunky book, and this was a really good book. There's a lot of really good points. I'll definitely have
Who's
to.
it by?
It's by Robert.
Kiyosaki.
Yeah. Um, I'll have to reread it. Honestly, I didn't care for it too much. It was very. You have to be financially well. It dumbed it down for you, but you need to be disciplined enough to read it. Like I said, I accounting and stuff, financial stuff. I care about making money, but I don't care about the nitty gritty of it. So
Mhm.
this was a bit of a hard read, but there was a lot of really good information in it.
Okay.
Um, Definitely, if it depends on your style. So I think that this book was a little bit better for me. This one is called "The Richest Man in Babylon." This is by George Clason. This one, it says the success secrets of the ancient. What? The success. The
The
success.
Success Secrets of the Ancients.
So I would say both books for sure touched on the importance of paying yourself first, and that
Yes.
I thought it was such an abstract concept because I get paid and I'm like, okay, well I have to pay my tithes and offering, and then I had to pay my bills, and then it's like, okay, well now you just have to read it. It's important about paying yourself first, and in my mind, that's why I always move money to my savings, and then it's invisible. It's not real money to me because I'm paying myself, and if like he said, if I want to be kind to myself, then I'm not going to take the money that I just paid myself right back out.
Mhm.
Negating that. Um, the richest man in Babylon kind of tells it in parables, so I think
Mhm.
that's why I liked it more. There's some religious stuff in there that I think we can understand as Christians too. This one's very it's not like as fictiony. This one's very like straight to the point. Like this is what you need to be
This,
doing.
it is actually a fiction story, though. It's not a real story.
Oh really?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Really? I thought it was real.
No.
Huh.
But those are two good books to read on your free time. You may not get every single detail and fact that they're trying to get across, but there'll be something that you'll cling to, just like I did. And it's always good to reread them. I'm not rereading them just yet because these types of books I like to read. But one day I know I'll pick them up again and read it and write more notes and stuff.
Awesome. Okay, I thank you guys for coming on here. We're doing part two, y'all. We heard that. So yeah,
Absolutely.
We'll make sure, like I said, you come on. We're gonna get the audience for you. You know, so we got people watching on Facebook. We got people watching on YouTube. And next time around, I think we're just gonna do straight YouTube, and then they're gonna have to come on and watch it from there, so we don't have no problems, no hiccups, no headaches, right? So I thank y'all. I thank you, or Zoom something, but we'll figure it out. All right. So on that note, I want to, before I close out any platform, I always say it's not over until God says so.
Mhm.
So on that note, good night, everybody. We will see you soon with part 2. Thank y'all. I
Thank
appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.